When a movie can hook you within the first minute, that's how you know you're in for a treat. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going through my top 10 favorite movie openings of all time. They're not necessarily my top 10 favorite movies, they're just my favorite opening scenes from movies. So before I get into this thing, be sure to hit that like button, comment down below your favorite movie openings of all time, subscribe and hit that notification bell to help me reach my goal of 100,000 subscribers here on the channel. It means a lot to try to make that final push. And check out the podcast link down below, The Unusual Couple with myself and my girlfriend Cam. We have weekly episodes over there, and it is an absolute blast. But I just say we go ahead and get into this list. Coming in at number 10, we've got Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. I will never forget the first time I watched this movie, seeing those two Jedi starfighters come into frame. We've got the battle in space. You've got Anakin and Obi-Wan having classic banter back and forth. This is where the fun begins. If you ever hear me say that, it is from the opening of Revenge of the Sith. And this epic space battle then leads into the saving of Chancellor Palpatine from Count Dooku and, of course, General Grievous. It's a great opening, like I said, with that playful banter between Anakin and Obi-Wan, showing their relationship is at its peak right now. You've got Anakin really being drawn to the dark side with "do it," as Palpatine really sort of talks him into killing Dooku. Just a great setup for the movie. It's a little overlong in my opinion, but one of the more memorable Star Wars openings without a doubt, and it had to make this list. Coming in at number 9, I've got the opening for Toy Story 2. When I first saw this movie, I was like, what is going on here? I mean, if you know, it actually takes place during a video game, and like Buzz Lightyear is flying around. All of his equipment and gear is actually working, so he's shooting real lasers, actually fighting, and then you realize it's Rex trying to master the video games. So that was just super cool that Toy Story had fun. They were like, hey, let's do a Buzz Lightyear cold open to our movie, because in the majority of the Toy Story movies, we just see Andy playing with these toys, and it's like, we have to use our imagination as the audience. But in this, we got to see like Buzz Lightyear in full-on action. This was Lightyear before Lightyear, but I think it's the most unique of the Toy Story openings. 3 almost made this list over because it's a very similar scenario. We see Andy playing with the toys through his actual perspective, so it looks real to us. But the opening video game for Toy Story 2, it's just too cool not to put on here. And then the shock value of Buzz Lightyear getting killed at the end, and then it's a reveal, the camera pans out, it was all just a video game. So really clever. This is an early Pixar film, and it shows how innovative they are with a very unique opening. But coming in at number 8 on my list, I've got the opening for Saving Private Ryan. If we were going straight up objective best openings, this might be top 5. This is an all-timer. It fully puts you in the shoes of these soldiers. They're storming the beach at Normandy. It's masterfully directed by Steven Spielberg. So much attention to detail on these ships before the gates open and people immediately start getting shot. Like, I remember in AP US history class in high school, my teacher talking about how apparently veterans would go see this movie and walk out of the theater throwing up because it was so realistic. It brought them back to real life, to the real moment in time when they were charging the beaches at Normandy. This is the most realistic war movie of all time. This opening lets us know out of the gate, this is the real deal, and it is the most accurate war film to date, from what I've heard from veterans on reports and articles online. So checks out. It's brutal, gory, and it puts you right in the shoes of a soldier from the opening. Really well done opening scene. But coming in at number 7 on my list, I've got the opening for The Lion King. The Circle of Life song has become so iconic that alone kind of catapults it somewhere on this list. But just the way we sort of start with that sunrise in Africa, we see all the different animals waking up and then congregating at Pride Rock to witness Simba getting lifted up. I mean, it's just a beautiful moment. It establishes the roles of everyone really quickly with Zazu, with Rafiki, with the family. And it honestly almost acts as like a short film telling a little story. It's beautifully animated. The music is so outstanding, and it really is a great way to kickstart the Lion King film. My personal favorite animated movie that's ever been made. Great song choice, and such a gorgeous like opening. I love it. At number 6 on my list, I've got Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I am a sucker for openings that tell their own little stories before you actually get to the plot of the movie, and that's exactly what this is. This is the Indiana Jones origin story movie that we never got, but they condensed it into 10 minutes of the opening of Last Crusade. We've got River Phoenix, rest in peace, playing young Indiana Jones, and it's his origin story, essentially. He is going after the Cross of Coronado when he sees that these robbers are stealing it, and so he has it, and his whole thing is, it belongs in a museum. Then he ends up on this train with all these carnival things from, you know, a magic trick box to a lion to snakes. So this is where we are introduced to why Indiana Jones has this deep fear of snakes. We see him pick up a whip to try and tame a lion, and he gets his scar, which explains the actual Harrison Ford scar on Indy's character when he's older, but also shows why he has the whip. And then, of course, we see how he gets the hat from the gentleman who is going after the Cross of Coronado. And that leads to one of the coolest transitions where young Indy gets the hat put on his head and he looks up, and it is older Indy that we know and love. It's just a really great confined origin story for Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones. It fits within the context of the movie, as we do hear Indy's dad's voice and get introduced to him and their relationship early on, so it functions greatly within the structure of the movie, but it's also just a badass, cool intro and flashback to the origins of my maybe favorite movie character ever. Stay tuned for a potential video like that coming soon. But next up on my list, getting us into the top 5, I've got the opening of The Dark Knight. Many people say this is one of the best openings ever. Of course it was going to be on this list. That Hans Zimmer score immediately had it on this list. It's an opening heist, and I am a sucker for heist movies, and this is a heist done right. But what's really neat about it is that the Joker is actually one of the henchmen, and slowly but surely he starts to pick everyone off, turn them against each other so that he ends up with all the money. It shows how clever but also terrifying the Joker is. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stranger. No, I killed a bus driver. Ultimately, he ends up getting away with all the money on that bus, and that's all you got to say about that. Heath Ledger's Joker is an all-time iconic movie villain, and this opening asserts him as that. Gotta give credit where credit's due. Dark Knight had to be on this list. But coming in at number 4, I've got the opening for Up. I don't want to talk about this too much because I really don't feel like crying right now, but it is a beautiful 7 to 10 minute little intro introducing Carl and Ellie and how they had this full love story and they were just a perfect couple for each other. Ultimately, they found out they couldn't have kids together and they decided they were going to travel the world. She falls ill and passes away, leaving Carl alone. And it's really tragic and devastating, but such a beautiful look at true love at the same time. It gives us a lot of the information we need about Carl as a character to launch the actual main plot of Up. But this functions as a short story really well and is one of the better just short films I've ever seen. And then you actually watch the actual Up movie and there's so much adventure, and Carl decides to ultimately live on. Adventure is out there in spirit of Ellie, and it's just so beautiful. It breaks my heart in the best possible ways. Up was always going to be on this list. Coming in at number 3, however, is going to be the opening for Inglourious Basterds. Leave it to Quentin Tarantino to write some of the best dialogue in the first 10 minutes of the movie I've ever seen. It sets up Hans Landa as a true evil, despicable person, as we, the audience, realize that some Jewish people are hiding under the floor, and he obviously wants to kill them. So that tension is felt, and we're just waiting for the chaos to ensue. It is a great opening that hooks you into Inglourious Basterds, shows you how maniacal Hans Landa is, but also how he's a few steps ahead of every character in this film. He's always going to outwit you, outsmart you. Like, he can make certain characters feel comfortable enough to maybe reveal information. He is evil, and Christoph Waltz shows us that in the first 10 minutes. This is a fantastic opening. My runner-up is the opening to Scream, perhaps the most iconic horror opening of all time, as you have Drew Barrymore, a big name in Hollywood at the time, cast in the lead role, it seemed, and they kill her off in the first 20 minutes. Do you like scary movies? It gives us a lot of these Ghostface lines, builds up Ghostface and the mystery of this movie, shows us some brutal, carnage-filled kills, and really creates that sense of terror and suspense from the start. This is a top 3 favorite horror movie for me personally, and the opening is a really big reason. It hooks you in, and the tension and stakes escalate and escalate until ultimately someone dies. Maybe more than one person dies. If you haven't seen the movie, I don't want to say too much, but it is a brutal opening, and my God, does it get you hooked into this movie screen. But taking the top spot for my favorite movie opening of all time is Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, so of course I love the opening. Indiana Jones is introduced as this awesome, badass adventure archaeologist who's on the quest for this fertility idol, and there's so much dedication to the set. Like, this is a big blockbuster movie set, and it's practical. Seeing Indiana Jones work his way through all these booby traps and ultimately get chased by that boulder has become so iconic in cinema, and it's won my heart over. I always love this opening. Sometimes I'll just look it up on YouTube to feel something. Raiders is my favorite indie film, and this opening is one of the coolest scenes in the entire franchise because, like I mentioned, you've got countless booby trap moments where he's like, stay out of the light. You've got the tarantulas on the back. Of course, Indy running through with John Williams' score blasting as this boulder's coming after him and the temple's collapsing. And of course, Belloc is waiting outside to steal the idol from him. It's just a great opening. It sets up everything you need to know. Our heroic main lead, our villain who's gonna not really play by the rules and be a rival of Indiana Jones, and it just shows how intuitive Indy is, but also how much adventure this movie is about to pack. You gotta love it. It's a Spielberg classic. It's one of my favorites ever, and it is a damn great opening taking the top spot on this list. But those are just my top 10 favorite movie openings of all time. Let me know yours in the comments down below, and be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to help me reach my goal of 100,000 subscribers here on the channel. It would mean a lot. And check out the Unusual Couple podcast link down below. We seriously have tons of fun with it. Any support goes a long way. But thank you guys, as always, for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.